As you guys can see, I am playing Pokemon Sword on my Android device at straight up 60 FPS and no issues whatsoever. Let's get started. Yo, what's going on guys, it's Aptrix here. Today I am finally bringing back a video on Skyline Purple Emulator, and I have an unfortunate news to tell you guys about this emulator's upcoming updates. But first of all, let me tell you guys that I'll be showing you how to fix all issues which you might face while playing Pokemon Sword on Skyline Purple Emulator. Now Skyline Purple is different than Skyline Edge or normal Skyline emulator because it has early access features from the upcoming Strato emulator and also some unreleased X-Man code which was released by Skyline team after the project Skyline was stopped. So obviously in terms of features and little bit of optimization, Skyline Purple is indeed ahead of normal Skyline emulator, and that's why I had ranked this emulator on the number 1 spot of my top 5 best Nintendo Switch emulators for Android. But if you follow all the settings which I am showing and also try out the custom turnip Adreno driver made by the main developer of Skyline emulator Purple Edition himself. So right here is the custom turnip Adreno driver supported for Adreno 7 series GPU, and you can find your turnip driver which supports Adreno 6 series GPU as well. Normally we use custom Adreno turnip drivers provided by a developer known as Kimchi, but we can also try using the turnip driver folks provided by Mr. Purple. So all of these are open source and available on Mr. Purple's GitHub page. I'd also like to let you guys know that if you have an Snapdragon 860 processor or above, you should be all set to play Pokemon Sword with at least 30 FPS outside world as well as inside house. So make sure that you meet the minimum requirements. Even if you have Snapdragon 660 processor, I can give you guys 100% guarantee that with the help of Skyline Purple emulator, Pokemon Sword should boot and go in game and should be playable as well, but with less FPS. Now if you are following all the settings which I am showing you guys right here, you will get the best amount of performance possible from your Android device in terms of Nintendo Switch emulation, and also minimal to no graphical issues whatsoever. So after you are done with applying the best setting that I just showed you guys, make sure to tap on the game, open settings, and make sure to turn off enable custom settings. If this option is enabled, then it will use custom settings which you will set for game specifically. But after disabling this, it will use the global settings which we just applied few seconds ago. And wait a second guys, you might face an issue where it will show you black screen, and if the FPS bar turns red, then the game will not work on your Android devices. To fix this issue, you have to make sure to disable direct memory import option from settings. It's because we are using custom GPU turnip drivers, that's why we are getting black screen if we try emulating Pokemon Sword. Direct memory import only works with proprietary Adreno drivers, so enabling custom GPU drivers may cause some issues. Or if your device is unsupported, for example if the game is giving you a black screen and if the FPS bar turns red, then make sure to try disabling that option to fix the black screen issue. Now direct memory import should work well even with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. So I think this is just an game specific issue or custom driver specific issue, but as you can see, we are playing Pokemon Sword on our Android devices with stable 50 to 60 FPS, and inside house the FPS will go all the way up to 130, 140, which is super crazy. And don't forget that this is while I am screen recording. If I stop screen recording, I get about 80 FPS easily. By the way, there will be some graphical issues present. You can't really fix all the issues because that's not been fixed by the developer of this emulator till now. As you guys know, Skyline emulator's development was stopped, and as Purple Edition, Skyline Purple emulator is the fork version of Skyline normal version as well as Strato emulator. The issues which you might face are similar. So don't worry, it's not your device fault if you see some graphical issues, but we have fixed almost all the fixable graphical issues as well as performance issues. Now with the help of disk shader cache, I'd recommend you guys to wait for a minute after the game starts in any of your position, so the FPS bar goes up. It will basically render all the shaders and make your gameplay experience way smoother. Or you can just progress through the game entirely and the shaders will be automatically compiled. Just explore the open world areas by using an save file. Save file I recommend you guys because many of you, if you are playing Pokemon Sword storyline, your game might crash at some points, some cutscenes, etc., which is unavoidable. So at such points, I recommend you guys to use an save file to skip those errors. Now finally, let me get to the topic of the sad news regarding Skyline Emulator Purple Edition's development. So the developer has decided to stop its development. He won't be providing any kind of newer builds of Skyline Purple Edition because of the developers of Skyline Emulator who didn't really support any forks of their emulator at that time, because as you remember, Skyline Edge was an paid emulator, like you had to support the developers if you wanted early access features, whereas Skyline repository entirely was open source. So while being open source, they were still charging you money if you want a built emulator, or else you had to compile it yourself from the source code itself. Now that's where Skyline Purple project started. He used to provide like early features of Skyline emulator, and his project was also completely open source, but the developers didn't really like it and people used to harass him on the Skyline Discord server. So after getting like too much hate, he decided to finally stop the Skyline Purple Edition project, which is really sad. I mean, the emulators feature were really good, like Strato emulators early features. Now that the Strato emulators new build hasn't been released since the past 3 to 4 months, I would have been really happy to see an Skyline Purple emulator updated version with the latest Strato emulator commits, but it is what it is, guys. It was his decision to stop the development of this emulator. So currently Skyline Purple Edition's last build is version 275 and it was released about 2 months ago, I guess. So that's it for the Skyline Purple project. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about it. That's going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Goodbye.